Hello and welcome to our next episode of our reviews for the season 5 of 100. We just got done watching episode 9, Sic Semper Tyrannis, and overall I think we both really enjoyed it. In case you're wondering about the setup here, we're going to be doing this for the next couple episodes. Unfortunately, we're not in the same town for at least the next couple weeks, and whenever that changes, you'll know because we'll be back in the same room again. But yeah, anyways, back to the episode. I thought it was cool because it seemed to be similar to the other episodes in that they were able to tie the episode together with a pretty cool title. And even though the we're really doing two stories in two different locations, one was with Octavia's group and one was with Dioza's group. They were both kind of dealing with a tyrant, somebody who had gone a little bit out of control and was betrayed ultimately because of how they were treating the people that were loyal to them. Octavia was betrayed by Indra, and McCreary, or excuse me, Dioza was betrayed by McCreary there, and definitely seemed to turn out pretty bad for Dioza and her group. I think, what, like half of the prisoners just died in that episode?
Yeah, it seemed like it.
What did you think of that? Like there was a lot of violence. I thought it was pretty well done, kind of kind of graphic, very different than what they've done in previous fight scenes.
Yeah, I did miss a little bit of that, the fight scenes, but I what I find most interesting about that is the role that Murphy was playing in the whole kind of um, overthrow of Dioza.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he really orchestrated the whole thing, and I thought that was kind of cool. An interesting role for him to play because there is no, Octavia or Bellamy or Clark to kind of do that, like to make things happen. So he was kind of coming into that role in a not very successful way. um, but that was cool to see him like make an attempt at that, I thought.
Yeah, it was nice to see him feel useful again because he's definitely been down on himself because he hasn't been able to do a whole lot up until recently. So he seemed to like actually doing something that was productive and helped out his friends, even though it was getting a lot of people killed who could have potentially gotten along with their group, their allies, and in a lot of ways by causing them to kill each other by getting Dioza, you know, in that situation, he made things a lot worse, but he in that moment felt really good and then tried to, I think, make up for it as soon as he realized his mistake. I'm pretty sure that's why he went back to save Abby because like he put her in that situation by
Yeah,
causing that giant riot. Right? That's I was a little bit confused by that. I didn't see him deciding to do that, but he decided that he
it
wanted to be helpful.
yeah, it did seem very sudden. Like I wasn't expecting that at all from him. And I also think that oh my gosh, what's his girlfriend's name?
Amori.
Amori, they're gonna have some trouble in the next episode, I imagine, because she did not seem very like, you know, supportive of his decision. She was just like, ugh, whatever, like, I'm done, kind
Yeah,
of thing.
she kind
But
of.
I kind of feel like they rushed through that part. I I feel like I was like expecting a little more like explanation or something
Mm-hmm.
there, you know?
They were more
I don't
focused on other characters, I think. They're like other people they want to give attention to. Yeah,
I
I
really
really.
like a jam-packed episode, and it's funny because like even though so much time was spent on Murphy, I don't really like if like just thinking back, I'm like, oh, I don't like that's not what I think of, you know? I'm like, oh, there's so many other things to
Mm-hmm.
that were more important than like Murphy's, fussing around and stuff.
He had like 5 lines, but he was pivotal. Like he threw that rock that kind of changed everything. Um, but yeah, they say I felt like they spent a lot more time with Raven and Shaw in this episode. You predicted it. I don't know how you knew. Like you
Hashtag
just
Shaven.
Hashtag shaven. That's, I think, gonna get
It
mistaken for
works.
something else. But you're right. Shaven does
Oh,
sound pretty good. I like it. It's quite clever. Uh,
or raw. I mean, raw is kind of cool too.
is it?
We'll see what the fans come up with, I guess.
I think if I had to choose, I'd go with shaven. I like shaven a little bit better than raw. Although they're pretty good. They're pretty good. They're not.
Like awesome and terrible.
So let's see. I'm just looking at the notes now at a couple other things we liked. I think we both really liked that line that Vincent said at the beginning of the episode to Abby about how it's it's different killing someone than letting someone die. Uh,
Mhm.
and I thought that was really cool because it was like him trying to make Abby feel better, but at the same time expressing how like creepy he is and dominant. That's just kind of like part of his personality is like he can't just be like completely domineering. Like part of what makes him so scary is there's a likable quality to him. That guy with the glasses is kind of likable. And I can see him being like an interesting ally for people in the future. I don't see them getting rid of that actor anytime soon, just because he's written so well and they could do so much with him, right?
Yeah, I agree. Although I kind of was hoping for a tiny bit more of him during like the kind of fight scenes because he really was only in like the first part that I remember,
That's
before it was announced that they had the cure or whatever.
mhm.
Is that right?
Mhm. Yeah, he took a back seat in that episode, but I think that really like shows how menacing he is. He doesn't take part in the like little disputes that are gonna get people just killed over nothing. He's more menacing than that. He's gonna survive and get lots of kills because that's like what he cares about or whatever. Like he still wants to live, and while he wants to kill, I think he realizes that he needs other people around to keep him alive. Like he's not 100% able to sustain himself, right? He needs some sort of society to survive.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious if he's going to develop some kind of like obsession with Abby where he's like almost like a dog, you know what I mean? Like super protective and like cuz it kind of seems like they're going for that to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm like I don't know.
That could happen. Yeah,
And
that's a
also
good
like
point.
Abby's pretty protective of Vincent too at this point. Like when she was like stay out of sight when like right at the beginning. I feel like
Yeah,
that's kind of a protective thing to say, which is interesting.
I
But
wasn't
I
really
guess
sure about that.
it's like her only like friend there, if you
Mm-hmm.
can call them friends. I mean, she doesn't really talk to anybody else who's not giving her an order, so I don't know.
Yeah. She gets along better with Vincent than she does Raven at this point. Raven and her are not on speaking terms.
Yeah, no, not really.
So yeah, I guess that's true. She hasn't really spent much time with Kane either. Diaza hasn't really allowed them to spend time together. So Vincent's her closest thing to a friend, kind of like Jackson. She's kind of adopted him like a Jackson type
Yeah.
character as an assistant here and there. What else did we like? I think we covered a lot of the stuff that I really wanted to talk about.
Really? I mean, we pretty much just talked about like the beginning so far. We didn't really talk about any of the grounder stuff, really.
Miller
Like
maybe.
when Maddie got ascended, sort of. We didn't talk about that.
Yeah, we haven't really touched on Maddie ascending and Miller kind of like leading one crew when Indra tried to get them to be all peaceful. He stepped in and said, "No, Octavia wouldn't want that." And I kind of could see it like forming over a couple scenes. It didn't just happen like in that moment. You could see on his face that he was suspicious and that he wanted to follow through on Octavia's original plan for whatever reason in it. Indra's not in charge. And in fact, Octavia trusts Indra less and less. She took the first battalion, away from Indra and gave it to Miller because she trusts Miller more. So maybe his instincts are right. Maybe he should um, try to continue with the war path that Octavia wanted them to go down. And I think that's what Octavia would have wanted. Yeah, I mean, it seems like that's what she wanted. She definitely wasn't happy with Clark, and not Clark. She wasn't happy with Bellamy, and who else did she tie up there? Indra,
Indra and uh
Gaia, Gaia, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Gaia. There's three of them. I remember three of them getting tied up there at the end, and I thought they were gonna fight in the arena, but I guess they're gonna put that off till later. I don't
I
know
think
why.
there's because Octavia loves her brother. She was crying at the end, or she shed a tear at the end because she's upset that he betrayed her. I think,
Yeah.
like why she doesn't cry very much, but I could see her being upset that being betrayed because I feel like she has she's trying they're trying to show her as like this compassion not compassionate but like a person with feelings rather than like the blood Reina. Like she doesn't want to talk about the dark year, which is,
Mm-hmm.
you know, interesting because like a real like true tyrant perhaps would be like, yeah, the dark year. That was like, you know what I mean? Like that's when I came to power kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
But she
Like
seems like end of it.
she's not
Almost.
what you would call bloodthirsty. Like those kind of stories you hear about people in medieval times that are just like drink the blood of their enemies. She's not that kind of person. She's strict when she needs to be, and it's just like the situation has called for her to be really really strict, and it's warped her. She's kind of traumatized from that whole experience. I
Yeah.
thought Maddie's stuff was pretty cool this episode. How even though she knew Clark wouldn't want her to take the flame, she did it because she thought it was the only way to save Clark. She may be right, maybe it was the right move. And I did like that whole interaction she had with that guy that used to be on the Royal Guard for Lexa, and then how Clark was just like, nope, and just shot him dead, like no talking about it, just like we're out of here. Sorry, dude. Like that was pretty sad for him, right? Like he's survived through all of that just to get shot by Clark because he found out like it worked. Maddie is Haida.
Yeah. I liked that scene a lot. Um, because it reminds me of like the beginning of Snow White. Um, I don't know if you know the story, but like the queen sends a huntsman to kill the princess, which is exactly what happens there, which
Mm-hmm.
is interesting. I mean, and then, Clark kills the huntsman. Um, but I just thought that was kind of cool. It's just another instance of the 100, writers like bringing in that, and especially like even the coloring of Maddie is like she has dark hair, she's super pale, like all that stuff, which I think is kind of interesting to like just throw in there. It's cool. I don't know. I like that stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
no, they definitely like to reference other things. I think we talked about before recording how the characters of Octavia and Bellamy kind of remind me of these scholars and these video games that I play that are from these super advanced civilizations that just have this knowledge that everybody else has no access to. There's no way they could have possibly known about Julius Caesar or anything quite like that. Um, but they are very like familiar and big fans of that type of literature and that type of those lessons that can be learned from that type of stuff. So I love that they have those two characters that reference the past, and I do like that they seem to also reference other books and themes throughout the show. That was
yeah,
pretty cool because I do see what you're saying about it being very similar to Snow White, and there's probably lots of other things that they're referencing.
yeah. I'm just missing them.
I like that we got some of our answers to like our questions about Gaia and her loyalties and Nyla and her loyalties because you and me did speculate in one episode when um, I think both Nyla and Gaia talked to Clark about uh, Maddie. I wasn't sure if they were more loyal to Octavia than they were letting on, and it does seem like Gaia was genuine. I didn't trust Gaia. I thought maybe she was just kind of faking, like, oh, I'm still a, what you call it, a flame keeper. But no, she still seems to believe in the way. Um, yeah,
In the way.
you know the what do they call it? The faith. The like.
Oh, the yeah. I totally. I mean, Gaia is really like one of those religious zealots. Like, I mean, that sounds kind of negative, but it's totally true. Like, she is the whole like religion,
Mm-hmm.
basically, at this point. So of course she's gonna keep it up, especially because it provides such a nice counterpoint to her mother in the story. So like, of course she's gonna, yeah. Anyway,
Mm-hmm. I was just looking over the notes and I think yeah, we did basically cover everything that we took notes on. Sure there's like one or two things that we're leaving out
the
here.
the dad. Oh, I
Oh
called that.
yeah.
I called that way a long time ago.
I'm glad you brought that up because that was a pretty intense like line and a pretty good scene. Like I wasn't sure. I thought it could be, and like I said, it doesn't take long for them to confirm these theories. You can have these theories, and then like 3 episodes later, they're like, okay, here's the answer to that theory. You want to know what Order 11 is? Just wait 3 episodes. It'll be here in no time. And we haven't known about Diosa's pregnancy for very long. Like that came out like 2 or 3 episodes, and they just told us that, oh yeah, McCreary's the dad, or at least so we're told. I'm pretty sure he's the dad. Like they're like
I don't really
he,
think Diosa would just throw that out there, you know?
yeah.
Like, I don't think she's going around banging all the miners on the ship. Like,
I don't know. What do you do
I
in
mean,
space? Like space can be kind of boring.
right? Right. I mean, well, I guess.
No, they have this cryo sleep things, I guess. That
I
works.
mean, she's probably the only girl, so.
No, there were like 3 others and 300. She had
Okay,
options.
anyway. This is not, we should not be talking about this. Okay.
But yeah, that was I think one of their better episodes. I enjoyed it. It was cool to be back to 100, and I actually didn't catch it at the end there. I think there is one next week, right?
Yes, there is.
Cool. Yeah. As always, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to leave a like and to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. We've got links to the social media profile in the description below. See you around for the next one.